You are listening to Uncensored Podcast.
I am Aisa Tijalo.
I am Maimuna Jain.
I am Adu Sise.
Welcome.
Join us every 2 weeks
For deep reflections and chill conversations.
From our living room couches.
Uncensored.
Hello everyone. Sorry, that was very loud, I think. But welcome back to Uncensored Podcast, and this is episode 3. People don't actually know what this means to us there. But my name is Aisa Tijalo, and I am here with Maimuna Jeng and Alvin Aliu Sise.
Gang.
So this is episode 3, and it's still Uncensored 1 and Procrastination 0. This actually means something.
Hey,
Uncensored 3.
We're moving.
Oh, you guys, Uncensored 3.
Get on with it.
Uncensored 3 and Procrastination 0. We're actually doing so well with fighting procrastination, battling it, and just going ahead with what
Bunch
we're
of
supposed
And it's so much fun.
to. It is. I legit missed recording the episode. Even though we only recorded one with all 3 of us, but I really missed it.
I missed it too.
Yeah, we're back and it's episode 3. We're going to discuss everything that has happened throughout this period, and then we have a topic of discussion for this episode as well. So to jump right into it, how have you guys been?
How have you guys been? You two.
Wait.
Why weren't you guys here the last time though?
So if you've listened to the last episodes, the one we talked about self-care, the one Munas and Fajeng actually did the self-care and productivity episode, you'd notice that Aliu and I were not on the episode.
Very noticeable.
So we'll talk about that. We'll get to talk about that. But how have you been, Munas? How have you been?
I've been good. This week has been so long with work. I had a lot to do and very little sleep. And imagine, I had ebe, but ebe be better mung si fridge be. And this is me. I don't even joke with my ebe. But the ebe has been in the fridge for 2 days because I haven't had time to eat it.
Damn.
That's how busy I've been. But I'm taking this weekend, to just rest. Get
Are you
more
sure
sleep.
you're going to?
No, I'm going
and
to
this
try.
is the guy that actually came on here. I was telling you about productivity
Self-care
and self-care and taking care. Oh wow. So,
Can I land?
go ahead.
As I was saying,
Yeah.
self-care is an ongoing practice, right?
Yeah.
And I also did mention that it depends what self-care is to you.
Okay.
And I will try this weekend to rest as much as possible. And rest is just sleep. Because I was like, okay, I'm going to take this weekend to catch up on Equals Now walk. But no, I'm taking this weekend.
Because now people, this is your executive director.
Please, I need my rest. Collective care.
But yeah, you need your rest. And if you've not listened, if you're a young adult out there, but I feel like you really need to go and listen to the second episode, the one on self-care and productivity.
Yeah.
Because a lot of us really just take care of other people. We're human beings to other people, but we're not really good to ourselves and everything we embody. So listen to it. It's on self-care and productivity. Listen to it and always take care of yourself. Aliu,
Yeah.
how have you been since we recorded 4 weeks ago, right?
I think so. I would
I don't even know where to start, honestly.
start from the beginning.
Where were you
Bro,
not
bro.
on the episode?
You guys remember from the first episode when I sort of talked about how we cut
Don't cast me there.
Speak for yourself.
how we talked about that we are pretty sure we caught the virus when it was like, I don't know.
When Corona just started,
But
I think in March or something. We felt that we caught coronavirus.
And we sat here and we spoke about it. Well, guess what? We spoke it into existence and
Manifestation.
The universe had us.
yeah.
And it brought Corona our way.
Away. I swear. It was some roadblock. You can't.
But what was the experience like for you, Aliu?
It's honestly, it's the most horrible thing I've gone through.
So we're going to visit our childhood experiences. We talk about things that we had to learn growing up and all of that. So before we get into the episode question, is your childhood...
Is the question not after the episode?
Before we get into the episode,
before we get into the discussion for the episode, you guys... I mean, is this
Ali, what do you want to say?
I wanted to say that you haven't had proper childhood if you were not raised in Kersering. That's all.
Hi.
Don't bring Bantaya.
We're in regionalism in the gap.
But yeah, question, before we get into the discussion properly. Is your childhood a fun place to go back to?
it depends what part of my childhood I go back
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
So it's mixed.
It's very mixed.
So we'll explore that in the episode. We'll see. So
Mine would I would say from grade 6 to grade 9. Yeah. Actually grade 8.
it's fun.
It was fun.
So all
But
other-
even in between, but it was I think it was like the most, I don't know.
I hope you find Kumbaba. That's her name, right? Kumba.
Kumba Abdullah.
Kumba Abdullah, yeah. I hope you find Kumba Abdullah someday.
please don't make this episode heavy. I don't have the range.
No, when she said
for
grade
it.
6 and stuff like that, my held no. And I remember how close Munas and Kumba used to.
But yeah, let's go. How was growing up in the Gambia like for us? Personally, me too. I think my childhood is half and half. It's fun. It's not fun to go back to. So, what was growing up in the Gambia like for you?
Honestly, come.
Ali is posh child anyway. He grew up in
Guess
Kesing.
push what?
Kesing is for posh people that you went to grow up in.
Yeah,
I
man.
grew up in multiple places
Where?
because my childhood was quite dysfunctional.
You used to live in Pebble Island.
So
Yeah, I knew that's what you mean.
So when up until my 2nd grade, I was living with my parents in Banjul. Then they had a divorce. So I moved to Kombo with my mom.
Where in Combo?
Sukuta.
Okay.
No, it wasn't Sukuta, it was Bakwate.
Okay.
Then I moved with my uncle at Bakwate. Then I moved back later to my mom in Bakwate.
You are wearing backward.
You went to Banjul, Bakote,
Backward again and
and then
and then
backward.
Sukuta.
Bakote again, and then Sukuta, and then you went to Pipeline, and then you went back. But
To
I think
back.
childhood ended in Pipeline, right?
No,
Child-
Pipeline was
actually
in my
technically
12th
18.
grade.
12th.
Grade 12.
Yeah,
No,
she was pretty old.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, yeah. So is Banjul, Bakote, Sukuta, Pipeline.
Yo,
I
come.
grew up
But
in,
more like backward than that.
yeah, so technically, I grew up in Latrikuna, German. Wild place, but we'll talk about that.
Pretty adventurous. I
That's so-
grew up in Kersering. Still live in Kersering. It's the only place I know, anyways.
Yeah, it's the only place I
So
know,
I'm just the
the
only
move around person. Do you know, can you actually stay in a place? This is for my personal research.
If I have my own house, yeah.
Like you can actually stay in one place.
If I have my own house.
So you're planning on moving out of Bakwate?
If I have my own house.
Okay.
Are you planning on moving out?
If I can afford it.
As in, do you plan on going back to Bakwate or Sukuta, or the other Bakwate or the other Sukuta or anywhere right now?
No, we have to move out of the other Sukuta. That's what I'm saying.
She
I
lives
want
in
to live
Bakwate.
on my own,
On
but
her
if
own.
I can afford
In this
it.
Gambia.
You will.
With the Gambian aunties and mothers. Good
Nah,
luck
my
with that. So
parents
moving
are
out,
chill.
Joe, please send us your research paper and documents so we can read, learn before we move out as well. Because if I tell my dad I am moving out or my mom I am moving
You
That's
even
like-
Julie
that's like
Tobaski. You gotta even Julie Tobaski with people.
on my own, exactly.
You want to
that's-
move out.
No. But what was growing up in Gambia what was growing up in the Gambia like for you guys?
Okay, I personally grew up in Kersering, and the neighborhood I grew up in was pretty mixed up. It had wild people, yet it had very tame people. And we had more of the privileged kids. Okay, okay, never mind, I'll skip that. But we have privileged kids, we have unprivileged kids,
Yeah.
and all of that. And parents in our neighborhood were very,
Glasses.
yeah, something like that. And they choose who their kids hung around with.
That's it.
And all of that. So growing up, ñun duñ naan génn. Ñun bu ko xalaat sax, like you,
Me and Ali went to the same primary school.
yeah, we went to the same primary
Yeah,
school.
yeah, yeah.
So you go to school, and then school so watch at
What's the
3:30.
name of the primary school? Sorry.
Say no primary school. So school so watch at 3:30. Like you're not supposed to be at home after 4:15. Like the latest you can be out is 4:15. So actually, my parents actually sat down. Oh, so they moved to Amut. It will take this long and blah 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 to actually get to the. I'm telling you facts, and we all had.
You grew up in military camp.
We all had our own watch, and then so you took track of time. So there's no excuse. Oh, how much once at a time be my door, blah blah blah. You're supposed to watch her, pack your books, pack your stuff, jël moto ngeen ñëpp si. That's the only thing. So I remember how we used to look at the time and then we start running suñu wàcce si tali bi before, so we needed to get to the house. I don't even know why I'm not so time conscious anymore. I used to be very time conscious growing up.
And you don't have anyone waiting for you at home.
Yeah, and now no one beats me up when I go home late anymore. That's the funny bit. My mom held the leash so tight in her hands, and when they were leaving it, it wasn't gradual. They just left it, and it was so funny. So I kept.
My mom used to beat me.
Son, man, I can remember this scenario. So my friends used to come to the house. So
I'm the dysfunctional child, but I wasn't beaten.
You weren't?
My parents, no. Never.
Privileged
One time my
so
dad
much.
beat me was when
Wow,
I went
very
to
privileged.
Yaya James living.
That-
With 3 siguri.
That was what Lolo Jarnako. Going to Yajamas
My
even
mom, I
Jarnako.
can't remember.
I remember there was a time my mom actually beat me every Friday, like 3 weeks.
So what happened?
Friday.
Yeah, when Malawa, then my door 7 days, sama.
Beating.
Malawa, then my door every day. So since we watch in school, we already had chores to do at home. So you're either watering bananas and other plants in the house, or you aman ay har, or you hari
So you're saying like,
or ngadem sama hari, or time was every time we got the sakumalo, time was sakumalo in the tana. So everyone and they figure ne communal defal si minus armanti minus ni samalo ba waratana. All of
And
us.
it was so small.
Hey, no, hey, yo, hey, best small,
No,
hey,
and he was head boy. And he was
I was as small as who do I know?
envy.
Kifa was taller than me. I could promise you this. I swear, Kifa was taller than me, and I had this really.
Wait, you were like
I had this really squeaky voice. Yeah, I want to
Okay, what is that about?
and then
I'm not throwing shots at you. I'm talking of me. So this is what we used to do. So I'm on a time. So the boys in the neighborhood. I used to play amazing football.
did you get bullied because
Yeah.
of your size and?
One guy bullied me. Swaibu Ture. Do you remember Swaibu Ture?
I know that. Is it Kumba's boyfriend?
I don't even remember if it
Yeah,
was Kuma's
pussy
boyfriend.
receipts on the
But-
episode. Kumasula Niegi.
And it was in primary school.
But yeah, Swaibu bullied me one time. This was just one incident. Like he protected me actually from other bullies. But then there was this scenario that he bullied me, and then on come ñu ngay ñibi. This was later in junior school. So when you get ñibi, so ñu gis ben mango si yoon bi, so ñu ko jam. Manam mom. So man ma jam mango bi, man mako ratal. But he bullied me and he ate the mango. I'm not even joking. I tried to fight him and Swaibu beat me up proper. Like that nigga put me in my place. I see him around the neighborhood. I still have so much love and respect for him, but these are scenarios that happen. I was pretty stubborn. So what was I talking about? Lamota ñu ma don door 7 days.
Telling the street.
I'm telling you, an entire week, an entire week. So the last day, they actually put me down to talk to me and ask me, and they gave me options. So I used to be they said I'm smart in school. That's what they used to say when I was growing up. So I wasn't.
You're a head boy.
So I loved football so much. Like suñu koñ man la gaa yaakaaroon like suma age mates yi. So time ma wàccee school gars yi war a dem play ak beneen koñ bi so gars yi dañoo taxaw suñu kër gars yi di yurundu pss pss boy parewuloo time ma fekk maa ngi taana maalo déedéet. So sometimes they will come and help me ma taana comme ma génna and then suma xaar suma yaay mu pousse rek ma génna ma dem. Like ma toppa gars ñu dem play and we didn't come back home until after timis. That's an abomination in my house. Like I'm not even joking. Like he was timis daf la war a fekka sangu nga yaa ngi toog si jàkka bi yaa ngi hard time bi gars yi noo that like you don't even have an excuse for it. So man dama dem wëri ma dem play ma ñëw ak tilim so time boobu suma yaag sama papa dañ dee wér da si état bi so suñ julee timis so léegi man ñëw naa léegi naka laay duggee pour buñ ma gis like they already know I'm not there but then I don't also want to enter so they see me. So ma nga si bunte bi di yurundu bla 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 di wër nii and then mu naar me bien di dama doon ñaay rek suma yaay mu ñiit ma and then mu ne ma so mu ne ma toog ma ñëw toog mu wér ba pare. And they used to beat me like legit every day. Dañ ma dóoree lu nekk dóor nañ ma belta dóor nañ ma banta dóor nañ ma banti tambi you know banti tambi and all of that and they were confused because so the last day my mom put me down mu ne ma ko su dee man dama bëgg a jël football gars yi génne ma school
dugal la académie.
ma dugal académie de ma seet naka laay def ak sama football su dee ma bëgg a jàng ma bëgg a nekk nit ma bàyyi dof lu bi yëpp ma concentré sama jàng and then I made my decision and
It was school or?
it was cool. It was cool, but
I feel like the
even
option of football wasn't even really an option.
It was not an option.
It was not an.
You
I had
it was
a
just put there, but you had to.
You
choose school regardless.
reverse psychology.
So Munas, what was it like for you? Munas did not get beaten. I'm
Munas,
looking
you-
at you.
how?
I'm actually looking at you. Like.
Semua orang konti lain madur, lagi mah agak muna agak 100.
No, yeah, that's it. So I keep talking about how my parents are like the coolest, but they actually are. Have you met my mom?
Yeah.
Have you met my dad?
No.
You should. He's a bad man.
But I see that he comments on Facebook posts.
Yeah.
And all that,
So he's cool, but also like I said, my parents got divorced, so then my dad left. So I didn't live with my dad from second grade till grade 10. How much? 8? 8. Yeah. So obviously I was already 16. How much? So there was also I wasn't 16.
No, grade 8 you were 14.
Yeah.
14.
Yeah, ish. So I didn't also expect for him to come and beat me. What?
Yeah, hang on. If you don't get beaten as a kid, guess what point you are like, yo, they can't beat me anymore. Or Gadima Musa Dur and all of that. So,
Yeah.
Because I had the same experience with my dad, Musuma Dur, but the day he actually whooped my ass, I was like I didn't even expect it.
So yeah, so madam, so that's it. My mom too, even though my sister said they want actually small Ben a particular sister, she says my mom used to beat her. But Smaya doing day door, and she wonders why, but I don't know.
I feel like parents too, they grow, because I have the same
Grow out of
even
it.
though I had experiences with my mom. She actually dealt with me, but I have instances where my brothers or my sisters would actually come and say, I get away with things that they didn't even imagine doing and all of that. So I guess they grow in their parenting and all of that.
Yeah. So my mom never, I can't remember a single living where my mom hit me.
Like I have
Where's
sequence
my
of
padebo?
episodes in my head. Of my mom.
Me, lol mo heading sa pag right now.
What happened at the Ayajame?
No, it was so my house were anti-Ayajame because my uncle was mayor once, and so my house is anti-Ayajame. Like, don't even talk about the Ayajame in that house. Malmanyo, Ayajame de entero. My family, nope, you ain't going. Man, I go, okay, everyone had to go because I've never done that. So I was like, I want to try it. Because I was a teenager. So madam, betri. Manyibi.
3, 6.
Goody. Bapare manyo makongkong.
Oh.
So po utara de mu ubi. Maduga sinig bi. Matore magis kim nginyo agbelta. And I didn't cry because it was so shocking. So I just stood there and he was hitting me. I don't know how to describe it, but I am so resistant to a lot of things. So I'm just a half of mudur after mudem.
You didn't cry?
I didn't. Mudur mudem. Madam,
So you know.
the next day, my cousin was mocking. Munas, family Monday, but family Mudun Diga, she called. I put my ears on there. And then every time, like the other instance also, like actually, just my dad was when he got me a phone, also teenage stuff. And then we had to go to excursion, Janjambure. My dad said, I'm not going. After my rap key, agree. And he was about to give me the money to go and pay. Hey, I was chatting with this boy on my phone.
He's
My dad,
you know your first accident was he's a man. Right?
my dad just came and he said, me who about accident. The guy decided then that I'm not going to the excursion. I was like, how is it even related? But yeah, I never got, I feel like, man, the only part of my childhood that is like out of touch was the fact that it was just people coming in and out of my life, and I was a child, so everything was so dysfunctional. I didn't get the feeling of actually being part of something where I felt like, because you know how it feels when you live with your actual parents, and I didn't have that.
You didn't have that.
I didn't have that.
Okay, so
So Mia.
but personally, I grew up in one of the wildest
Latrikunda is
in the
wild.
Gambia.
Latrikunda is wild.
Like every single day of my life now, I actually thank my parents for keeping me out of the streets.
Latrikunda boys, please stop attacking these sex workers out there, please.
Yeah. Please. They're human beings, and it's a hustle, you guys. It's work.
You guys are gambling.
People are not beating you up for that. And you know, Latrikunda is actually the
most unsafe.
Like, yo, come on.
Do for the massage.
Yeah, there's so much.
And then they took the laptop. And there was organization money in the laptop. Hey,
Damn.
that day.
Latrikunda is actually very, very, very. But let's talk about schools and how do we actually use any of the stuff that we learned in school?
Never.
Is it even relevant in our lives?
Well, at least I used the nursery rhymes I learned to babysit a few kids, if that counts. If that counts.
Okay.
But
What schools did you
I think education generally.
I went to
in
only two
Gambia.
schools. I went to from nursery 1 to grade 9, and then amazing school growing up. But I see a few.
Let me
lately
come and
it's
list.
being jumbled.
You have a lot of schools.
I told you I was moving around. How will I not move schools?
So I went to from nursery 1 to grade 9, and then I did my high schooling in SOS. Damn.
Haman
Maina. Oh, I think that's where I first saw
Maina.
Joe.
Oh, he was in SOS.
Yeah, he was in SOS. He was.
That explains a lot about him.
Hey,
What do you mean?
I'm not discriminating or actually saying
Stereotype. You're stereotyping him.
I'm not stereotyping, but it actually explains a lot about.
What does it explain? Elaborate.
It's not easy in the episode. We'll do it after the episode. But yeah, you list your schools.
Go for it after my list is.
I actually went to only one school from daycare
Methodist.
all the way to high
Nels.
school. I went to Nels.
Oh, you went to
But
Nels.
that's actually one of my biggest regrets in childhood, because I feel like I would have done because it would have helped me, because I went to only one school, and I'm actually scared of change as a person generally, changing stuff, because I was supposed to go to Methodist in high school. Madam to school, but I was like, yo, like I'm going to leave my friends, like I'm socially awkward, so it would be hard to make friends and all of that stuff. So I was like, I just go, and then I told my mom, no, I'm not saying it on this episode before they come and beat me at my answer, but I actually told a lie to not go to Methodist, and then I stopped with Nels. But if I could go back, I'd actually change.
I don't
it.
know. I always thought you went to Methodist. You gave me this Methodist child
Please
vibe.
tell me I'm not Mrs. Harding child. I actually met that woman only once.
All of these Mrs. Harding childs.
My sister actually went to Methodist, and then her experience every day she'll come. Miss Harding did this to me. Miss Harding said this. I was like, I can't deal with that.
I went to, so when I applied to schools and for grade 9, so I said, okay, because all my cousins were in Methodist, I said, let me go try. If you know you did not apply for my school, leave the line.
And I was with my dad. I was with my father.
Okay.
So you know the
Okay. I'm leaving.
I was with my father, because actually from grade 9, one of my friends went to Methodist. I was like, let me just go and try. And then I went, and then this woman started doing things on the line. I'm like, and then my dad was like, maybe we should just go.
Yeah.
So you know how
For me,
we're
I
supposed to
went to-
choose how we're supposed to choose schools, and then I actually the first school I chose was, I think it was Methodist. No, I chose SOS, and then my dad was like, no, I can't go to SOS. He doesn't like SOS. Blah blah blah. Me, I should go to either Nusrat or Methodist. Blah blah blah.
I knew
and I
Nusrat
didn't.
was coming.
I didn't know anyone that was going to either of these schools. Well, I knew few people, but if you're listening to this, they weren't my favorite people to go to the next school with. So
Ganula has
no. So I had few of my friends. They were going to SOS, and them Asan Job and few other people. So these were the people that I was hanging around with. These were the people I knew. So I didn't want to go to another school and do Hamken and all of that. So, and I already knew few students from SOS Junior, because time when they play Fridays and all of that, and they're all going to the high school. So I wanted to be around them, so we continued this adventure. And then my dad was like, either of these schools. So I got so mad about it. So a few weeks later, I came back with Methodist option. Okay, like Methodist. And then my dad just got up, Lamota Methodist. parce que ça yow sa xarit yëpp def ngeen deal ne Methodist ngeen dem léegi na gaa dem Methodist yow léegi SOS nga dem
What?
Uncle, you asked me.
You said no. Now you come and say.
So that's how I ended up at SOS. And I made the most amazing friend the first day at school. This is one guy. Shout outs to Khalifa Jao. He's not in the Gambia anyways. But I met this guy and he came to school the first day. My access to school, so I talk si Bunti High School. And then I knew Gabu, so mana Gabu ngi talk. So there's this guy. Papa mo watch ko si pick up. And then mo dem si gana pick up bi mo watch bicycle am bi. Man hey ki mom dinga bicycle mo pedal dinga bicycle am bi. That's the first thing that came to my mind. And he had this really shiny Delphon dog. I didn't know this guy was actually was about to be my closest friend. And then we went to the same class and crazy adventures. We started going. He lived around my neighborhood, so we started going home together, and all of that. He put me into so much trouble anyway, and I did the same with him. But these were the adventurous parts that I had
we'll
growing
share
up.
a few experiences.
But I had
I
really,
didn't really have like those options to choose school because I wasn't privileged as you guys.
What do you mean?
What do you mean privilege?
Where's privilege?
You were choosing,
whatever.
thinking about choosing Methodist and all of those places.
I had
only
a
have
scholarship.
Methodist
I had a
and
scholarship. What do you mean?
I was only in Methodist and NOPS.
Me, I went to Bethel Daycare.
What?
Better
Better
day.
day.
Mental
Daycare.
daycare, okay.
I went to Methodist Nursery School.
Yeah, you have Methodist.
Then I went to Albion. Then I stopped Albion in grade 2. I went to Bakote proper in grade 2, 3, 4. Then I went to Senu.
Then I'll have you face.
So I remember this girl with the big forehead. Today they control me.
Hello.
Sorry. No, Monash used to be very chill there.
So I went to Senu in grade 4, 5, 6. Then I went to SOS 7, 8. Then I went to Paju, St. Augustine's 8, 9. Then I went to St. Joseph's 10, 11, 12.
Yeah,
That's how
I
many
remember you.
schools?
I think 6 or 7. Better Methodist, Albion, Bakote proper, Senu, SOS, Paju, St. Joseph's, 8 schools.
Pajuv is the name of the school.
Yeah, St. Augustine's. It's same as St. Augustine's.
Damn.
That's a lot of schools. But again, she's explained what it's like already. So let's talk about Ali went to you grew up in
Kettering.
You grew up in Banjul, Bakote, Sukuta, Pipeline, and all of that. I grew up in Ladi Belaja. Let's talk about. So we don't want this episode to be extremely long. So let's just share a few childhood experiences that has defined our lives generally as human beings, or as young adults in the Gambia. What experience and how it has helped your growth as a person.
How do I put
Who wants to go first?
How do I put this? I don't know if this counts. So growing up, I had this really severe dermatitis. It was.
What is that?
It's a disease of the skin, and it was really, really bad, like very bad, and it kept fluctuating. Some season I was fine and all of that, and other seasons I looked as bad as an unscaled fish. So
Okay.
yeah, and I remember how whenever it gets really bad, I've actually went to a whole lot of hospitals. You remember how I told you that I'm the full year lekuma yapa, and people kept diagnosing me about telling me different stuff. Oh, legi boom leka yapa, so duma leka yapa for really, really long time. Legi boom leka gin, duma leka gin. So they were trying different stuff because I did a whole lot of tests and no one could tell me or could tell my family what was actually wrong with me. So the manan herbs been drop. And then I went all the way to Senegal too and all of that, and they couldn't even tell me what was wrong. And this is just kept coming and going, and sometimes it stayed for really, really long, for months, and it was there. And when it comes, my body itches a lot. It itches a lot. And sometimes somebody gonna have their hair and I them see fancy my hair like come had it used to be very bad. And then I most of the time I was made to go to school under that condition, and I looked that horrible, and I had few kids that ran away from me and stuff like that. It was actually very, 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 very bad. And it had.
Wait, I think I can remember that.
Yeah, you can.
I can remember your skin. Yeah,
You should
like
be.
it's chip.
You know,
Yeah, I remember
sometimes
that.
it used to be very, very bad. And then at some point, they were kong. So I had kids actually literally run away. I'm not even joking about this. Literally run away from me, and it used to make me very, very, very sad. I used to remember that this is the only my childhood was amazing. This is the only fucked up part about it. And I remember how sometimes I would go in a corner and I would cry on namota yala mo def mali be mamunu mandro agniti and blah blah blah.
Blame Gorbena.
And I've had so many crazy names that people called me because of that and all of that. I remember that some Nigerians also moved into my neighborhood and their kids met me in the shop one time and they went and told their parents how my skin looked like and all of that. And these were stupid, crazy experiences and they used to hurt me really bad. But it got to a point I got tired of it because even as I was, the last doctor I met, I remember, told my mom that this is going to be leaving me the more I grow up. The more I grow up, I'm going to see less of it. And that's actually what happened. So the more I grew up, I saw less of it. But then I was already tired of hearing what people were saying about it. I was tired of people running away from me about it. And like I've met a friend, even before you talk about anything, I'll tell you about my dermatitis, about Lee, just in case it pops up, so you don't get scared about it and you don't start running away. And I tell you how it nakala wasado de wale and all of that, because I actually live with people that I touch and I talk to and I get close to, and none of them has it. This is only me that has it. So you don't get scared. I started getting confident about it. I talk about it in spaces. I write about it. And that's it. It pretty much has contributed to how I've started having. I don't worry about my flaws anymore. I've started accepting them. I learned the fact that this is who I am. If I can't get rid of something, I might as well just learn to live with it and not care what the next person has to say about it or feel about it. And I think this is literally who I am now, and it's with everything that I do. As if it's something that I can't get rid of, I accept that it's part of me, and
you live with it.
I live with it.
Yeah, that's a pretty intense. Or what? Again, I feel like it's a mantra that everyone can live by. If you can't deal with something, you learn to live with it and grow out of it.
So for me, I think there were like few. For me, it was mostly bodily features, and it wasn't something I noticed or realized or was conscious of. It was just what people reminded me about. So at first, like early in my childhood, it was how thin I was, because I was very tiny. I was like very sour. And then later it was my forehead. So I know,
Because I remember the size of it. Sorry.
You're
so yeah.
No, I am not. I'm
exactly.
not. I apologize.
So no, it's fine. It's not a big deal. So at first I was in denial, because I was like, wait, how is a forehead supposed to be? Isn't this like normal? Where do you want my forehead to go? Is it supposed to come here? So that's why I said it wasn't something I was conscious of. It was just what people kept reminding me about. But also because the thing is, from the beginning, I'm not the person who like ever lets things get to her, like to a very deep level. So I think when people also realize how I didn't care about it to some extent, they just said it for the fact that, oh, we want to point it out, but they knew I wasn't going to take anything personal from it. So yeah, early it was my waist, and then later it was my forehead, but I dealt with it. But for me, like, the fun part of my childhood was when I moved back to my mom's place. So it was around grade 6, 7, grade 8, well, and 10, yeah. But we had this, so it was me, my sister, Chick, you know how Chick is, my cousin, my aunt, my grandmom, but my aunt used to go to work, so it was just us in the house. So we had this big, how do you call it, yard. We had a hut. So we came, community come ali, dundan gena lubari, because my parents are also. So, so dundan gena lubari, but for a man time, I'm not very social. So Chick was the one who was like always, mom, everyone in the neighborhood knows Chick. So, and also my cousin, because he play football. But me, I was the one who was like always secure back here, you know, so always trying to find something to do at home. Then we had people around Fofunono after they knew Chick first, then Jahed, and after they start coming to the house. So we used to play around Fofunono. So, it's goody. So, and I but literally, like we wake up early in the morning just so we could do our chores. So soon you need to come in your 8, the 9th week and you usually during holidays, right? At weekends. So then we had dance routines. I used to dance a lot. I had choreographers to school me at the house everywhere. Cause I don't know what happened. All of a sudden, I'm not to my feature. Does that even work?
Mr. DJ
Jump on the replay, Mr. DJ. I can. I used to have dance routines, so I think for that, like that part of my childhood, it was really fun. Because I was also a tomboy at some point, so I'm not gonna fight. I'm not gonna fight. Why is he looking at me like this? I'm not gonna fight. The hulu. Manga jara guy. Mana mom. One week we fight. Every day is watching school. You them you hear all of it. After you could hang up a bank we can you elect them you know. So the last day kumba muda mubolema.
I used to like Kumba. Kumba was some radical.
I love her. This girl was my friend. Yeah.
The one you used to fight.
No,
that's Jara.
She's the one that actually reported you. Okay.
Yeah, this girl was my friend.
I remember how Jara's mom used to come to the school and have some drama with the principal.
Principal mom deserve every drama.
Yeah, you're back and daddy.
Go the flooded door. Like that's actually abuse. Over bole. Door nini. No mercy. Coming a sal book sanga mudura.
Is it? Did she bite?
But they gave
parents used to call and report their children to her. So come look at us kid. We put them to school. You don't understand.
That's how much.
And she was old, but yet she had so much strength.
That's the point. I don't know how she got
I
it.
remember one teacher beat me one time because my dad does not joke with his kids. Kamuna lad if anything scared, but he doesn't joke with. I remember I think it was in grade 4. That is how well I was actually a very quiet person. I still am a very quiet person, but I do whatever I want to do regardless. So we had I think we had class in grade 4. We were supposed to do PE, and that's the only thing that I looked forward to in school because I hated school so much.
Still do.
But I still go to school because I used to play football and all of that stuff. So I only look forward to break time and PE time. And this check came to the class and said we're not going out for PE, that we should stay in the class. Me, I changed to my PE clothes. I told everybody to follow me. I told everyone to follow because he just said sit in the class. You're not going out for PE. He didn't even give us a reason. I said okay. He left the class. I was like, everyone just change. Let's go to the field. So we went and then he called us
the
back.
revolutionist.
He called us back and he was like, who asked you guys to go out? And everyone was like, it's IJ.
It's
IJ because oh yeah, IJ. And then he came. You know those black horse pipes?
Yeah.
And then I had a mark on my back. I went home. I reported him to my mom and dad. And then my mom said next time I should be careful.
Hi.
But my dad took it up and then with experiences, again, like I said, I was very quiet. So people hardly ever thought I did anything. I remember one time they sent me to the principal's office in junior school, and the principal sent me back and said I was not capable of doing what they asked me to, what they said I did. But in the house, at school, I didn't challenge people verbally, but I did whatever I wanted to do regardless with teachers. And my mom would tell me, because my mom had the principle that you can't go out in the house as well. But me, I used to wake up in the morning. All I do in my house is ndewo. And I go out. So I stay out the entire time. I come back. Body Timis, Sangu, and then I go out again. So
Well, you were living a life. You were living a life.
No, I actually leave my house and go to my friend's house. I'll wall candy for them, do all the other stuff that I'm supposed to do in my house there. I will not do it. I go to other people's house and do it. But I wanted to fast track because I could just get away with anything with my mom. So I just help them fast track their job so we can go out and play, football, do whatever. So I'm like, hey, can you go?
I remember
other people's houses. So I just go, or my mom would actually try to punish me sometimes and she'll say, can you them talk at her? We'll sit at the kitchen and
Damn. I remember scenarios like that from childhood.
And then the funny, I had this friend in my house, in my area, and then so she come, then they just wore. It's not like we're doing anything with our lives. Like, we were just roaming about the neighborhood. And then there was a period we used to meet after every Timis. And then I'm supposed to be the Mayam Dara. But after Timis, like me at Masangu. And then I'm out, so mom meet ko. And then I remember this one time we met a guy, Sion. That was the last time my mom met me. I was in grade 9. We went out. The guy said, yeah, so they say I'm mudo because the more that I'm a ton to go. And I also they say I'm mudo. I'm gonna come back na jerejef. I'm actually fake flat. Because the problem is I had issues with my sister and my brother. So and then my mom when she's beating you, she closes everything. So and then I was with my cousin mom Nyemewood. Mom, hey, don't you feel me? And then she was like, oh, mom, even when they used to beat the two of us, mom, they did just the mu comply, guy, don't go. Man, I did the muscles my ear, and like I say, you're actually me here. When I got into trouble with my mom, and again, going back to how quiet I was, when I get into trouble with my mom, my dad could not really decipher why my mom was always beating me because but then for me with my experiences I learned to keep to myself as well. I'm a very sensitive person. I remember when we were kids, my mom like Aji. So when we're jangani and then he comes, he'll just look at you, mo Ajila, mo hold mo Ajila. And then when they say something about you, I laugh. So one time he did it to me like my joy. So I cried and then like since then mobile. But then I learned to keep to myself and then I think I've learned to be independent from the jump. So you tell me to do this, I'm like I just do whatever I want to do with my life. So I feel like that's what childhood has taught me, to not conform to it. And I was a really bad tomboy. Like really not that it's bad, but
I think when I met you were still a tomboy.
I still am. The type of different thing like that. But that's who I am. That's how comfortable I'm on that. Like Billy, if you go to my wardrobe, it's all today. Hardly must not any other thing outside that. But I feel like with childhood and growing up and everything in the Gambia, for me it's independence and just keeping to myself generally, So I guess we'll just answer the question.
For me it's also independence, but also I'm able to like understand the different levels of inequalities and privileges and just how people live outside of what's normal for us. I think that's also one thing.
Talking about inequalities, I grew up in a Sunni neighborhood. So not that we were well off, but we're average, and my dad could literally pretty much take care of everything. And there was a point in his career he was like wealthy, like he could take care of stuff. And then I grew up in a neighborhood where it's like you're either like extremely wealthy or you're just surviving, right? And then so people used to come. My house was like the place where people used to come and play football, play video games and all of that stuff. And then so talking about class and privilege, you literally it's literally a representation of what class and privilege is in the Gambia. So it's basically you can afford these things for your family. Come with my friends in my neighborhood. If they needed something, if they wanted to do something, I had to go and ask for it because there was no way they could get it from their parents. So it's always me, go and tell your father to give you this, and go and he give it to me. So I feel like class is either you are up there or
I was pretty privileged.
no, I was not, to be honest.
Olive, you both were.
No,
I wasn't,
was
honestly.
not. I was
You see
not.
the people that Aja is telling, you know what they were. Okay, I didn't have any of these games growing up. Not these video games, not man,
Well,
I okay, go on.
No, I was just gonna say for the video game summit.
No, not even the
It's
video
not
games.
even
not-
sometimes
For
privilege.
me,
It's
not that
interest.
my brothers or my cousins got it, but for me too, I feel like because I enjoyed that. Man, I played football. I played football more than my brothers did. Man, I'm toxic. I'm studying. Man, they got football. Simbedabi. I leave my books and go out and play.
And if your parents are making you choose between football and education,
So,
they most
exactly.
likely won't get you.
So
a
my
video
dad was
game.
comfortable.
You think I was going to go and have a football career even if I chose football?
that's what
I had the option because my mother had problems with it and my siblings had it. But man small part of my dad and he wouldn't ask me to go back home. If I come and play ak boys, he wouldn't ask me. And I remember when I finished high school, sir, and then I stopped playing football totally. I wouldn't play Sikirbi, Sikonbi, whatever, because I think I played my last game day before my graduation. I signed a completely. And then my dad was like, yo, come time football day, I'm Harley, sing a bye. So I had the option. So anytime I went and asked my dad, come, Gina, I want a video. Like I remember growing up, every birthday I'll tell my dad, video game me labuga, and then he's like, okay.
Obviously, it's about
So
privilege
definitely-
because some people can't afford it.
It's not
But in this context,
Yeah,
it's about the mindset of your
Of-
parents and not exactly privilege. Because if you wanted a video game
No, my parents
and they
wouldn't
were
afford
okay
it. Couldn't
with
afford it. I'm pretty sure. I promise you. I swear. I'm not even making this up. Why are you guys giving me faces?
You grew up in Kesari, boy.
What do you think?
Get fair representation. But I feel like that's the problem with Gambia
Okay,
as well.
I grew up around very, very privileged kids. And these kids wanted to have me and my younger brother so much around them for a very for different reasons. I don't even know why. Honestly, I don't know. Probably it's because how it was
You
fun
were
and all of that.
the
But then
different
I
kids,
realized
the
that
poor
their
kids.
parents preferred their privileged kids playing with us, me and my brother, rather than people from the other homes
The
or something like
less
that.
privileged
Probably because no, it's not. No, honestly, it's
Home
not.
training
We have
something.
more privileged kids than us, whom they didn't want their kids to be around. But I think it was because of the home training and how we were so content with what we had, and we really did not want what the next person had. It was an abomination to come to the table in the morning in my house. Nga fekk fa mburu bi nga ubbi pour seet lan moo fa nekk. Like you don't even do that. You just take the bread
If
and you
not
eat it.
snake, you chop
If
If not,
and my mother had this thing that dumala jox lu laa rey. I don't think my mom ever believed in allergies and stuff like this until we started growing up and stuff like that, or when I started going to the hospital and you might want to maybe leave more like a be more definitely and stuff like that. But then you were supposed to eat anything and everything. I was made to eat. People don't understand. I can never like button say or jahatu because I've been made to eat it a million times, and I couldn't. Dama ko leka mun na ko wuna, and then 30 minutes is 30 minutes later last my I joke fofu no dama ko dem wucu. Like it could be in my stomach for as long as possible, but the moment my mom moves, I'm going to vomit it out. And I remember how we used to have so many chores that we couldn't even have time to go and play, and then these were during the weekends. So
Do you have a sister?
yeah, I had elder sisters, and I had this niece that came to live with us. But in my house, there's no good again. I was going to the market, and my friends the whole gang would top me to the market and gunge me, and I think this is how some of my friends started adopting to it. And then because you know nanbale, and then the nanbale kirby, and then see we can be nabale mbeda from junction to junction, and we were made to do this. And then eventually other kids from the neighborhood started coming out and balaying their bunti kids, and these were guys too, like smahariti. And I remember how they used to come because on Fridays and Saturdays we were allowed to go out, like around 4 before 6. So I remember how they would come to the house around 2 or 3, and then they help us start doing the chores. Kuneka boy bi ki minge bale negi hari, ki minge rosefi, ki minge rahas ball, and just to help us put new tela pare, put new them for it. And you know, I appreciate things like this, and I realize how even indirectly my mom has changed a certain mentality in these kids' head that they came from homes where guys weren't touching anything. I know kids that through their seni race,
Yeah,
and
because they had someone to pick it up.
exactly, they had someone to pick it up from them. And these kids started taking responsibilities and cleaning in their house, and that's because they started coming to my house and they started seeing us do this. And they,
Shout out to your mom.
yeah, shout out. I keep typing.
Shout out, Auntie. What's her name?
Auntie Abby.
Auntie Abby.
I keep saying this a lot. I am probably the way
society
I
is
probably
proud
think
of
the
you.
way I think because of my mom, and I didn't see any problems that these guys see. I don't even understand it. I swear it's very awkward. I saw
You
Juka.
didn't grow up where it was gender roles, like
Exactly.
Yeah.
men had to do this.
Me, my sister Sama had. My sister's Raha Sangat had. So, we talk at. I cook pretty well. Hey, astaghfirullah. Hey, but I didn't know how to bahal malo. I don't know how to cook sauce like that. But I know how to cook malo. I could cook very, very, very good malo, but I can't cook certain sauce. I can't cook it. So I learned all of this, and I don't know. This was.
I feel like that's just a tiny percent of the Gambia, to be honest, where you actually go and it's not this is what boys are supposed to do and this is what girls do. And that takes me to the next thing that I want to talk about, which comes around expectations for children from parents, siblings, and everyone else. So as a young girl growing up, there are certain things that you were expected to do, or there's a certain way you're expected to act or be, and if it goes out of that, like you're either radical or you're not disciplined enough or you don't have respect for your parents and all of these things. Growing up in my house, you had to ballet. For me, I think my brothers and my cousins only had to go and do ballet.
Wow.
But everything else, I remember.
Yeah, that's
this,
my
this,
cousin too.
This
He
happened.
only had to do
Turumbali. This happened recently, and then it got to a point where when they wanted to stop doing it, they stopped abruptly. So it's not like you have to. But for us, I remember when I was in high school, I was forced to actually wash my cousin's clothes. My mom would actually. So that used to hurt me so much.
I remember a few times I've washed my sister's clothes. I'm not even
You
joking
can't
about
do
this.
that in my house. I remember there was a time we had lunch and then I told one of the kids in the house, I'm like, the boys, I'm like, "Kanga bele fi ni," and then my dad was like, that's not happening in his house. I'm like, that actually explains how we grew up with the mentality, because you're telling that boy that is not what you're supposed to do. Even though he has two hands to do it, but you're telling them that that's not something you're supposed to do. And we grow up with that mentality that women are supposed to do this, or girls are supposed to do this, and boys are supposed. And then that is where the conflict comes in, and that is where abuse grows and all of these things. Because you grow up in, take for instance, you get married to a man, and then you go in the house and then he's expecting you to wake up 8 a.m. or 7 a.m. in the morning to fix him breakfast before both of you leave the house. And so he already comes into the marriage, or he already comes into the relationship with an expectation which has grown. When I see which already was nurtured from early childhood. So I feel like we should dissect expectation before we answer the question of the episode and move on with our lives. What were some of the expectations for you, and how did it help to build or break you?
Go on, don't worry.
So for me, I wasn't socialized in a gendered way, which was good. But again, when I grew much older, and then it was me, my sister, and my cousin. He's a guy, so he didn't do what we did, of course. So toga, but he didn't have to do all of those things. And he's my aunt used to wash his clothes, but come uniforms and me Paseko Sunday, he didn't do all of that. He was in high school. So when there's a point where she couldn't do it, so she would ask me or my sister to do it. So then it was can't you just wash your uniform? Dude, you're wearing it. So there was those tiny bits of it, but like from the stage where I could learn, it wasn't in a gender way that you have to do that. So, but for expectations, I don't know. I still feel like I don't know what my parents' expectations were for me.
You were supposed to come to the house with amazing grades.
So this is why I just keep telling about how awesome my parents are.
You didn't get that?
But I was also like a smart kid. So I was either manager first, manager second, manager third. So maybe because there was no need for that, but I never also had that. One time, my dad said, "See, I don't want to definitely." My dad says, "Major first of major gift." I took first in our grade. But my dad didn't give me. But yeah, I also never had that. So there's this thing my mom does. It might be conscious or subconscious, I don't know. But sometimes she tends to compare you with other kids, not on grades, on chores.
Yeah,
because I've always hated chores. Hola kini, munge lifenli, or hola ki, munge defli. So she just keeps pointing out these things, and man, I hate them. But yeah, they weren't really major living for me, cause I wasn't right now. I'm not talking in a cabinet 1 week. So cause I wasn't going out. I don't know. So I just can't tell what the expectations would come for me, cause I was getting my grades. I was staying at home. I was doing them chores.
This is pretty lucky. You're pretty
she's
lucky.
talking about grades, and I'm actually thinking when we were in, I think that stopped when I got to junior school or something. But there's this thing we used to do in my house. So end of term, we'd actually have a family meeting. You bring your report card, this person brings their report card, and because I grew up with my siblings and my cousins and all of these people, so you bring your report card, everybody brings it, everyone, we had a study room in the house, so we'll meet there, everyone, you come, my dad will open it, dissect everything, and then, yo, Munas, you didn't get that.
I didn't.
So you
Sorry
had
guys, I'm disappointing you.
No, not that, but the it actually just shows, because I personally thought that every household had that, where people would actually think about, hey, you have to bring this certain grade in school and all of that. Even though my dad was not like, because again, I passed my exams with less effort, with little or no effort. So there's not like a rigid expectation that you had to come to the house with this certain grade, but you didn't have to fail, obviously.
Yeah.
But that was there. But with other people that weren't on my level, I'd say, I saw how that expectation was there for them. Like, you can't come to the house with this grade. You have to do better. And then talking about comparison, I feel like that is how, for me, I've always known how to resist energy that's not for me.
If I can remember from my record books, I think the first time I went to school, I had 6th position or something. And then after that time, because I think I came into the time late, and that was my first year in school. I was a kid, and then after that I started taking first, and it did not stop. And I remember how my younger brother wasn't having similar grades. His grades were around 6th to 15th, and every time we picked up our reports, I was passing with less efforts like you. So I didn't even know how I was doing it, because I saw yeah. I think I told someone that UTG is overrated, because I see, well, maybe it's probably because of my course, but I see people complain, and I think this you could just pass through here easily. But this was me. I was passing with less effort, and I saw way more hardworking students who were having grades lesser than mine. So man, it was always, everyone was talking about Nakala Guide MS Second, because they knew that I was going to take first. I remember how
Competition started from
second, yeah, because this one is unused.
So yeah, and when we pick up our reports and we were coming home, my younger brother used to feel so uneasy. So I get blah blah blah, because his grades were matching mine.
Yeah.
So I remember this time I took 3rd position. I was in grade 5, and I swear I was crying, because I knew what I was going to find at home. It was going to be some. So I got home, and I told my third lajil, and I'll never forget this statement until I die. And she said, "Wow, di nga nekk on the jail tat di delo gannaaw comme tat." Like I was expected to come.
How old were you?
I was in around grade 6 or something, or 7. I can't remember. There was something like Tembo Magna, and I felt really bad. So after no, it kept fluctuating. I was still taking first most of the time. Why? Maybe first time, second time I take first, and third time I take second. And it was, every time I took second, it was a huge complaint that why did I leave, blah blah blah, do my study. So there was this huge expectation that I should take first. And then the entire school expected that I was going to have aggregate 6 during grade 9 and blah blah blah. And everyone was pushing me. And I remember how swim mock exam, I had aggregate 10, and they felt very, very disappointed. Oh, I could have actually done better, even though I was the highest in the school. But everyone, I don't know why they had this expectation that I was going to have aggregate 6. I was not. Maybe I was not that smart. Well, I had 6 times 2. I had aggregate 12, and oh shit, I couldn't go home. Well, I'm not even joking. I remember how Smile of Mahasa, like Smile of Mahas, small part of Mahas, about this aggregate 12. I literally used to sit in my room and cry. I'm not even joking about
So
this.
are you doing the frog diagram
What is the frog diagram?
in science? Are you doing?
I knew, but
Are you doing fish?
I don't do fish.
What's the
Are you
aggregate for?
finding X in your job or why?
I certainly am not. I swear,
feel
I'm
like-
not. Everything that people praise me about my job has to do with ethics I learned from home or in the streets. It's nothing that I've learned. And I'm not been at it. That's the only thing I learned from the school. But besides that, I definitely, I haven't put it into use yet.
Yeah.
Maybe new younger coding and other stuff, they're putting it into use.
Boy, nga coding di bala nga code sa yan do YouTube.
Like literally, yeah.
Especially UTG. If you studied computer science in UTG.
But I had pretty
Half of
much,
the syllabus,
I
all the things that they know from the internet.
Yeah,
so.
and from the jobs they're doing. I feel like Gambia has the worst curriculum, but that's also Africa's, because we haven't really done much in decolonizing, and because it's different cultural settings, different contexts, so we're just learning, and these are not translating into the lives we're living.
Yeah. So to this.
if you made it this far, you're MVP.
Yeah,
I
thank
promise
you so much for listening.
Die hard fan.
Thank you so much for listening this far. So we'll just answer the question that we are going to for the episode, and then we expect you guys to answer it on social media as well. So quickly, I read the question.
30 seconds.
One thing you wish you had, or want to change, or would change to make your childhood better. One thing you wish you had or would change.
It's past. Why are we changing again?
No, come.
Maybe make adulthood better.
No, for children that are growing up today.
So for me would be, I wish I had a stable home, family. So what I would make sure, even though I don't want to have kids, but yeah, if I do end up having kids, or even if they're not biological, whoever I get to live with as a child, I'll make sure that they have a stable home, even if it's just me. And that's even if it's I'm the only one raising them. I make sure that I give them as much love and make them feel really belonging in the type of environment they grow in, and grow. How do you say?
And raise them.
And raise them. Upbringing.
Upbringing now.
And just raise them to be everything that I am today and becoming, but just to denormalize a lot of normalized things, and also normalize a lot of denormalized things.
True.
Good.
If there's one thing I could change is, I think there was a whole lot of tough love growing up.
Yep.
A whole lot of tough love, and
African parents.
I've actually
African parents.
growing up, I've actually said a few times, I actually wondered whether am I loved or not.
Is this my
but
mother?
but when I grew up, I actually realized, oh, these people have actually gone so many times out of their way. For me, it could only be love. I remember how my father drove me. I'll never forget this memory. We are from Banjul, I think. I should be store uniform or something, and all the way to the house, and I was only reading a newspaper, and we couldn't even converse. And not that, so
That's also like normal in a lot of Gambian houses. People don't have they don't have any relationship with their parents, especially their fathers. It's just this place where you feel like you're living with strangers. Or if someone comes in,
that's true, yeah.
Providers, yeah. And if someone comes in, it's noticeable, because there are some things I can tell my parents or ask them, the next person can't.
Exactly. Not that my father taught me a whole lot of stuff. We bonded. Some of my jangal passes. I'm not even joking. How to iron my clothes. My dad taught me how to iron my clothes and all of that. But I remember he took us to Abuko to learn about these animals and stuff.
Aliu.
But
one thing you wish.
yes, it's the bonding.
Explain.
But it's my child be more good.
This episode is long already.
So yeah,
Summarize.
I wish I had more soft love,
Ah.
if that's the thing.
More love then.
More love, yeah,
Baseline
more love.
So we're hoping that's also something you'll give out.
Bro, I love kids. I swear I love kids. I can't even imagine how much. I can't imagine how I and my kids are going to bond. I give a shout out to Lajor Jamal. I love this kid so much.
Yeah, your bestie.
Yeah, that's my best friend for life, and I haven't experienced love like that ever in my life. I'm not even joking about it. I'm not over exaggerating
Shout out,
it.
Lajor.
I love that kid,
Okay.
and he makes me want to have
I
mine.
think it's so-
Okay,
It's
bye.
okay. go on, have yours.
So for me, pretty much, it's a lot related to what Mona said. Even though I was not moving around, but I grew up. I still struggle to find a place where I fit in or belong and all of that. So I wish I had people that actually showed me how to build and nurture relationships with people, and that's one thing I wish to. If I eventually learn to do it, wish to teach my kids, my twins, hopefully.
Hey, when I see these people talking about kids on Twitter, I'm like, what is happening? What is wrong with you? Oh my god, my ovaries! You're lying.
Hey,
If your ovaries
tickling there, tickling. Come on.
I legend want to have kids. Like I legend love.
what are you
especially
waiting
twins.
for?
Me.
Kids are beautiful.
I'm waiting for a man with really the genes that I want for my
Hey!
that we can move. That we can I don't want anyhow kids. So I don't want anyhow
Listen,
kids as well.
man,
I
if-
already have genes from me that I want my kids to have. So I'm waiting for the man that will complement those genes. Thank you so much, guys, for listening to this episode.
Oh, by the way, I have something to say. Closing remarks.
What closing remarks?
No closing remarks. But yeah, I just want to shout out my friend's raising funds to pay his university tuition. So if you can help, if you can share, the link is gonna be posted in the description. On YouTube, on SoundCloud, everywhere, and also we can paste it. We'll paste it on our social media. So please help if you can and share. I don't understand how UTG
Help him
is so
bounce
expensive
UTG.
for the Medicare.
And they actually owe some people money. But they will not talk about paying those. They're asking students to pay.
And for the mediocre education they give out, why is it so expensive?
We have a UTG episode coming by the way.
Yeah, let's save it for that. So yeah, peace out. I'm
so
done.
thank you guys. Thank you so much for listening.
Finally, I
If you
get
made it this far, like Ali said, you're MVP. So listen to our podcast on SoundCloud, YouTube, and on.
We're on Apple Podcasts, bitches.
We love you.
So thank you so much for listening, and bye bye.
Finally, I got to hear it.